So today I wanted to talk about the sense of urgency that I feel. But as a Christian, I also know that the Bible says to be filled with faith instead of the spirit of fear, right? So even though you feel a sense of urgency to leave the United States or the West in general, I want to caution you not to panic and really not to run away and move because of fear, but to move because of faith. And there's a big difference between the two. So I have to say that you might be triggered by some of the things I'm going to share in this video. So if you are an empath and really sensitive about what's going on in the world, I'm just going to encourage you maybe not to watch this video, because if you feel like you're going to be triggered and have panic attacks or anything like that. So at the time of this recording, last week, we had another major mass shooting in the US in Maine. And there was this whole thing about the shooter being loose and people didn't really know where he was. And there was this whole chase and everything. I personally don't watch the news, but for some reason, this news got to me probably through social media or something like that. But it's been years that I haven't really watched the news at all. And that's just one example of the many things that might trigger you and get you into panic mode and want to get the heck out of it as soon as possible. So some of these things include, and I'm going to look at my list right here: racism, extremism, so all the isms, right? And extremism on both sides, okay? Not just the right, but also the left. Mass shootings, like I mentioned, that actually have kind of become normalized. Like, there's another mass shooting. Oh, well, we just ask, okay, where, and then how many people died, and then that's it. We move on to the next thing, okay? US imperialism and propaganda as we are the best, okay? Politics, just the stress of daily life, individualism and lack of support for families, food killing us, okay? Consumerism, okay? We are always pushed to buy more and more and more. Overmedication, pushing for supplements, on and on and on, okay? Those are just a few, but a lot of the many reasons why you want to leave the United States. But here's the thing. I don't want to burst your bubble, but some of these things, I'm not saying all of them, because some of them are, I would say, typical to the United States. But just because you're living the stress of the United States doesn't mean that you're not going to face stressors at your destination, okay? So you have to be very aware of this. The stress, yes, you might still feel some stress. It might be different, but you will experience stress. That's just part of life, okay? Inequalities as well. That's something that you might face. Maybe you might be a little more flagrant at your destination, mostly if you go to a developing nation versus the United States, where you live in your bubble. Like in many cities in the US, once you live in your neighborhood, everything is there. You don't have to go into another part of the town, so you don't really have to face poverty, mostly if you live in the suburbs, right? Another thing that you might also face at your new destination is the lack of certain conveniences that you are used to here in the US. So my point with this video is really for you not to fall for the panic, even though there's a sense of urgency. Like I said earlier, there's a difference between moving because of faith and moving away because of fear. So you want to move because of faith, because you understand that no matter what happens at that destination, you are going to be okay. All right. But if you're moving out of fear, you are going to be triggered by the things that you have here. And you're also going to be triggered by the things that you're going to experience at your destination, okay? So you have to change your optic. You have to change your perspective on how you are moving and why you're moving and what you are believing for. So with that said, it's very, very important to be focused on the good. Yes, urgency, but you have to look at the good, at the positive sides of things, at the positive of moving abroad. And if possible, you also have to accelerate that process, because in a lot of the things that I just mentioned, these are external factors, right? So you are not in control of any of these things, like individualism, racism, extremism, mass shootings. Like there's nothing that you can do about it. But what can you do? Let's take the positive approach here. What can you do? What can you be in control of? You can accelerate your exit date. How can you do that? Prepare your family, do more research, go on your scouting trip, save more money, make more money, invest more money. These are the things that are concrete, that give you the power, the control, and give you a sense of purpose in a positive way. That way you are getting closer to your exit date instead of just being in panic mode and being stressed about everything around you and moving out of fear because you are running away. All right. We understand the stressors and the triggers of being here in the US and all of that. But you have to understand that every country has issues. Okay. So it's not like you are living to a place that has no issues at all. You have to be aware of that. So I want you to use that sense of urgency and turn it into something positive. Again, faith over fear, faith over fear, faith over fear. All right. Choose to move by faith and not move because of fear. That's the message for this video. I hope you found it helpful. I hope it gave you a little more sense of peace, a little sense of, even though there's urgency, but at least being at peace with the decisions that you are making and that you're going to make in the future to help you and your family move abroad. If you find this video helpful, make sure to give it a like, share it with a friend, and of course, subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss any of my other videos where I share the progress that we're making as we are preparing for our move abroad. If you want to watch another video, this is the one that I would recommend you watch next. Until next time, bye.